Alright everyone, in this video I want to zoom out from the jaws and from the face and talk about health hacks in general that are key to be pursuing alongside any jaw hacking, which is to say any jaw expansion that you're considering. I just finished the day's worth of one-on-one chats. I offer one-on-one chats through my blog, JawHacks.com, link in the description below to sign up for a chat. I do them all on the same day every week, and I just finished today's chats, and a theme that kept coming up was health habits that need to be developed alongside orthodontic expansion or surgical expansion. What I find is that the people that I chat with tend to fall into the trap of thinking that fixing their jaws is going to solve all of their problems just by itself. They have this idea that, okay, once my jaws get to their optimal size, everything else is going to fall into place all by itself, as if this is like the sticking point. It's the rate limiting step that once we get through the jaw expansion, it's going to be an avalanche of health and well-being. And while that's true to an extent, it's actually not quite correct. And there are several other habits that I have personally pursued alongside jaw expansion and that I frequently recommend to people through one-on-one coaching that they pursue as well. I like to use the following analogy. The health, well-being, and beauty that we as jaw hackers and as human beings in general are trying to achieve is found on the other side of a door. And that door does not have one lock like your bedroom door might. That door has several locks. One of those locks is going to be expanding your jaws. And in fact, probably the biggest, most difficult lock to unlock is going to be expansion of your jaws. But there are other locks as well that you also have to put the key into and turn in order to get that door open. Now, before we get into what some of these other locks are on this figurative door, I want to talk about why jaw expansion is going to be the most difficult of all of the locks to crack. For starters, jaw expansion is, of all of the locks on this door, jaw expansion is going to be the only one, for the most part, that you cannot unlock by yourself. You are going to need the help of an orthodontist or an oral surgeon to do this. And why is that? Because jaw expansion requires breaking bone. Okay, it requires an MSC, or it requires double jaw surgery or some other similar intervention that requires, you actually put metal into your mouth and split bones with it. And that's just not something you can do on your own, unless of course you're Kieran's Ortho Lab. All right, check him out. He did it. And I'm certainly not advocating that others do it, but he is an exception to what I'm saying. But for the most part, we need to go out and pay some other doctor to help us unlock this specific key. The other keys that we're going to talk about, the other locks that need to be unlocked, are in general things that we can pursue by ourselves without the help and intervention of a physician or a dentist. Okay, and these are things that are also much less expensive as compared to the jaw hacking component. The other reason why jaw hacking is the biggest and most important lock to unlock is because by getting through the jaw expansion component of your health rebuilding journey, you're going to facilitate all of the other health habits that you need to pursue. In my case, before I got into any orthodontic expansion back in 2016, I had spent years and years, probably 6 years, pursuing posture rebuilding using the Estrogople method, and also refining my diet, and also attempting to establish exercise and other health habits. And while I was able to make progress in those fields, I found that my jaws became the bottleneck of my health transformation experience. And so that's why, even though, as we're going to talk about, you have to pursue other aspects of your health independently of jaw hacking, the jaw hacking component is going to be the key to you being able to access these other health habits, such as exercising, running, lifting, dieting properly, and And once you expand your jaws with something like MSE, the rest of it is going to get easier, and you're going to end up in an upward spiral of health that just keeps going up and up and up and away till you achieve your ultimate goal of being a transformed, healthy, happy person. Okay, let's cut to the chase as to what some of these other health habits are that you need to be pursuing alongside jaw expansion in order to achieve your ultimate goal of physical and mental health and well-being. The first one that I want to talk about is running and lifting. Let's start with running. I run exactly 2 miles every day. It's the first thing that I do when I wake up. It takes about 20 minutes for me to run 2 miles. I run right on the road outside of my house in Vibram 5-finger toe shoes, okay, which forces me to use a natural barefoot running gait, which is more of a forefoot strike rather than a heel strike that has a lot of impact and it can be destructive on the body. Let me say this. I had tried establishing a barefoot running practice starting in 2010, 6 years before I did any orthodontic expansion, and I failed. I was never able to become a habitual barefoot runner until I did MSE, and then the fall after I did MSE, I got a treadmill, and I've been able to establish a running habit, and I've run 6 days a week since the fall of 2019 after I completed my MSE expansion, which is just to say that the MSE expansion, being able to become a better nasal breather, really facilitated my ability to adopt a running habit. This is part of the upward spiral of health, right? Where you pursue jaw expansion and then you keep at the same time pursuing other positive health habits, and they feed into each other, right? And this leads me to my next important point of why running is so important, because it provides you a fantastic opportunity to take your mewing to the next level. How is that? Well, when you're running, what are we focusing on? We're focusing on our breathing, and we're focusing on our tongue position, in addition to the rest of our posture. Okay, we're definitely not listening to AirPods. Okay, we're keeping our ears free. We're listening to the road around us, making sure we don't get hit by a car, because running on the street is the most dangerous thing I do, for sure. And we put our mind, instead of on some podcast, unless of course you're listening to JawHacks, then it's okay. We're putting our mind on our posture, on our tongue posture, on our full body posture, and on our breathing. And the key is this. You want to practice suction mewing while you're running, and you want to nasal breathe the entire time without exception. Even if you're sprinting, you're breathing through your nose. And if you can't breathe through your nose because you're just not able to get enough air that way, that just means you're not running. That just means you're running too fast. Slow it down and run within your breath. Run within your breath, which means run at a pace that allows you to nasal breathe the whole time. And this 20 minutes a day of running is going to just set the tempo for the whole day. It's going to provide you with an opportunity to do some focused, intensive mewing to start the day. It's going to flood you with happy chemicals, endorphins, dopamine, testosterone, whatever else God has wired into this natural process to make us happy and to encourage us to do it more, right? Which I believe is part of natural law. God wants us to run specifically and to run barefoot, and so we're rewarded biochemically for doing it with all of these happy chemicals. Beats the shit out of caffeine or any other stimulant you could do in the morning. I mean, you'll just be feeling great. It's also a great opportunity to get some sunshine and some fresh air, and in the winter, it's a great opportunity to develop some cold tolerance. These are all fantastic health habits for you to establish. The second health habit that I want to talk about that you should be pursuing alongside any jaw expansion is lifting weights. Okay, this is key as well. What I do is, as soon as I come back from my run, I pop off my shoes. Now I'm fully barefoot. And now I do kettlebell training and calisthenics. Specifically, I do kettlebell swings, I do Turkish get-ups, I do pull-ups, I do dips, I do push-ups, and then I also have some maces, and I do some mace swinging. A mace is basically a metal stick with a cannonball at the end of it that you twirl around your head in a specific motion, and it really opens up the shoulders, which leads me to my point about why weightlifting is so important. Weightlifting is going to give you the strength to be able to hold a posture that's going to feed into the posture that you're building through your mewing, and it's going to make you healthier and more beautiful, which are both of the goals that we're trying to achieve by jaw hacking. Specifically, kettlebell training, by doing kettlebell swings, okay? You're strengthening your hips, which allows you to keep your glutes tight, which allows you to have a better, more upright posture and fix any flat feet. I spoke with someone today on a chat who had flat feet. Well, the key to fixing flat feet is to squeeze your glutes and to kind of curl your legs in by squeezing your glutes, which is basically your ass. That lifts your arches. Okay, and you get that by doing kettlebell swings where you're basically hip thrusting. All right? Now, Turkish get-ups, which are another one of my favorite exercises, a kettlebell exercise, that's going to help you train your whole body, but especially your shoulders. You're going to develop tremendous amount of shoulder mobility. You're going to learn to keep your shoulders back. You're going to strengthen this area around your scapula, which is, in my opinion, is the hardest part of the body to strengthen. You're going to learn to keep your shoulder blades sucked back. And all of this, again, contributes to better posture, more beauty, more health. Pull-ups, same thing. Push-ups, same thing. You want to, focus on form on all of these exercises that you do, and by focusing on the form of these full body exercises, it's going to be fun, it's going to be engaging, it's not going to be, these bullshit isolated muscle exercises that get boring and that all they do is, emphasize one specific muscle and to the detriment of, full body training. No, I'm not advocating any of that. I'm advocating caveman type training. And whenever you're doing any of this lifting, again, what are we doing? We're focusing on nasal breathing and we're focusing on tongue posture. And what does this do for us? This provides us with an intensive activity where we're focused on our body and where we can focus on our mewing during this intensive period. And if we can hold our suction mew and if we can focus on nasal breathing through this intensive activity, it becomes easier for us to maintain the mewing and to maintain the nasal breathing throughout the rest of the day when we're not doing such physically strenuous activities. I would even go as far as to say that the most important part of mewing practice is to lift and run, and to just simply focus on mewing while doing those strenuous activities. It's the best way to develop mewing muscle memory, and I think to get actual mewing gains, because when you're pressing your tongue up on the roof of your mouth during fitness activities, you're really pressing hard. And so it's one of the most under-discussed aspects and elements of mewing, which is just mewing while training. Another health habit to pursue alongside jaw expansion that complements jaw expansion and feeds into it and leads to this upward spiral of health and well-being is proper diet. Okay, and for me what that means is a 70 to 80% carnivore diet, and then a 25% or so, basically whatever the hell I want, vegetables, sweets, and whatever else. I eat twice a day, once around 9 or 10 a.m. and then again around 4 or 5 p.m. And I always start my meal with basically a ribeye steak. I eat that first. That fills up most of my belly, and after that there's only so much space left to eat crappy food. Why do I focus on eating animal products, specifically beef or some other kind of meat? Number one, it's the perfect food for mastication and for practicing the chewing component of mewing. Mewing is not just about pressing your tongue up on the roof of your mouth. Mewing is also about nasal breathing, and it's about chewing. And the best way to practice the chewing component of mewing is to eat beef, eat steak. Why? Because steak is tough, but not brittle, meaning it's not going to crack your teeth. Number two, steak is super nutritious. It's a nutritionally complete food, and it's zero carb. It's got a good proportion of fat and lean meat, and basically, you know, I mean, I believe that meat is the food that we're evolutionarily designed to eat. And for more information on that, you can look at Carnivore MD, or you can look at Sean Baker MD, two major influencers in the carnivore diet kind of space. But just from a Mewing perspective, the carnivore diet is great because it's great for building muscle mass, it's great for chewing, it's going to allow you to masticate and exercise your jaws without breaking your teeth. As for me, that's important because I've broken teeth before by chewing harder foods like mastic gum, because I had a lot of cavities when I was little, right? So my teeth are full of fillings because I was a mouth breather when I was little, got a lot of cavities. And now if I want to chew tough foods, I have to chew foods that are tough but not hard. And meat fits the bill and just so happens to also be the most nutritionally complete food that's out there. The last health habit that I want to discuss in this video is finding proper sleep posture. Now this might seem insignificant, but it's actually huge. Why? Because we sleep 30% of our time that we're alive, and you could be the best mewer in the world during the day, but if you don't set up the stage for you to mew while you're sleeping, you're going to have sleep disordered breathing, and you're going to be choking on your tongue regardless of your daytime habits. So what are the keys to finding proper sleep posture? I'll just tell you how I do it. And it's been a long journey for me to arrive at this point, but basically it's this. No pillow, inclined bed, which means the head of the bed is 6 to 7 inches higher than the foot of the bed. And you want to be on your back, but with your head to the side. Now this is the best of all worlds, right? Because I used to advocate just forcing yourself to sleep on your side, because we know that we have to have our head to the side. We know that for a fact. Otherwise, if we sleep with our face up, we're going to be fighting gravity, our tongue is going to fall into our throat, we're going to have sleep disordered breathing. Well, how do you keep your head to the side? Well, I used to think you just have to sleep on your side. And I would wear a backpack while I slept. I would wear a backpack with 2 basketballs in it to force me to sleep on my side, because my body just wanted to come back to being on its back. Well, I thought, okay, why does my body want to be on its back so bad? I don't know what the answer to that question is, but the fact of the matter is my body does want to be on its back at night. So I figured, okay, how can I have the best of both worlds? How can I both be on my back and also not fight gravity from pulling my tongue into my throat while I slept? So I tried it, right? I went on my back and I just tilted my head to the side. And I'm going to demonstrate the posture itself in an upcoming video. But for now, I want you to just be aware that this is what I currently believe to be the proper sleeping posture, which is sleeping on your back with your head turned to the side. And if you actually look at some images of how babies and I should say primal peoples, traditional peoples sleep, you'll see this, right? They'll be kind of on their back, the hip will be a little bit leaned in the direction that their head is going to go, and then they'll just tilt their head to the side. I've been doing this for 2 years and it works great. Give it a shot. That's it for this video. Gonna wrap it up, maybe more zoomed out full body health hacks in the future. But for now, keep that in mind. Your health and well-being is behind a door. That door has many locks. One of those locks, the biggest lock, is going to be jaw expansion, but it's certainly not the only lock. In this video, we discussed at least 3 other locks, which is running, lifting, proper mastication and diet, and lastly, finding the proper sleep posture. So I guess we discussed 4 additional locks that we want to be trying to crack simultaneously with jaw expansion. And when we do them all together, we find ourselves entering an upward spiral that leads to health and well-being. Talk to you all soon. Peace.